Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to our Spiritism at Noon. And today, as we finish the book alert that we have on our YouTube channel for those who wanted to watch it, we will be, before starting a new book, I already thought about the new book. There is another book by Joanna de Angelis that we studied many, many years ago that is called Family Constellation. And I think it's going to be very interesting for us as well to go through this book. And it's an amazing book for us to talk about as well. And especially for the moment that we are all living, it's going to be very interesting. And we will continue with Joanna de Angelis, okay? So, but for the next few weeks or so, we will be covering other topics that were suggested, like this one that we are going to be covering today, studying today, that is about the Perispirit. And we will be explaining everything, even why we call our spiritual body Perispirit. Of course, when we talk about Perispirit, we are thinking, first of all, we are going to be using all the knowledge we have and information we have received from the spirits in the Allan Kardec's books actually, because he talks about it in quite a few books. So when we refer to question 150 of the Spirit book, the question says, how does the soul retain this consciousness since it no longer has its material body? And the answer is, it still has a unique fluid which it draws from the atmosphere of its planet and represents the outer shell of its last incarnation, its Perispirit. So one question that always comes to mind when we think about, our transition and then living in the spiritual realm, and is still acting, feeling like we do, or like we have all the reports in the books that we read from the spirits that come and give their accounts to us. So one thing that we want to understand, even when we think about, I see myself as a spirit, or others may have the possibility of seeing me as a spirit. How is this possible? So the first understanding that we receive is that we have a spiritual body. It's not the physical one that we have here, but it's one that is represents a physical body as well, but not as dense as the one we have. I'm just going to ask you to be a little bit patient here in the beginning, because we will be covering much more information. So I don't want to bring everything now. So let's follow a little bit the presentation that we have here, and then we will stop for questions, for more comments. So the other question that we find there is, a person made up of anything other than a soul and a body? The soul meaning the spirit, and the body, the physical body. And so the answer from the spirit is that there is a link that is going to unite these two forces. It's very much like when we think about energy, okay, electricity. We have the electricity that comes from the from the outlets that we receive in the outlets, and we have a device, but we need a cord, right? A cord that will connect the device to the electricity. So the device is going to be working upon receiving this energy that we are talking about. There is electricity. So in this sense, this is more or less how the spirits will try to explain to us how this body that represents a medium between these two parts actually act, and what is the purpose of it. Always, again, we have to take into consideration that the spirits do not, I mean, we do not have the vocabulary to, explain things better as they are. And the spirits always have to be using analogies according to our understanding. Let's think about ourselves 30 years ago. How could we explain to people Wi-Fi, internet, iPhones, Zoom meetings? We didn't even have those vocabularies, right? Online gatherings, we start developing according to the necessity we have, according to the things that we will be receiving. So it's the same thing. They will try to use our vocabulary. So to say that everything and all those information are precise, even in terms of terminology, it would not be correct to assume that. Because that there is no way they can, talk about things to us that it's beyond our scope of comprehension. Okay, so what are we? Here we have those three guys, right? Here, of course, this one that I'm showing to you with more color, let's say, just for the sake of showing more density, is the physical body. Then we have this one that is, blinking, that represents the spiritual body. And we have a spark of light that is the spirit, for lack of a better way of explaining this. So what is the nature of this link, the perispirit, the spirit body? In question 135A of the Spirit's book, we have it is a semi-material intermediary between the soul and the body, and this is required for communication between the soul and the body. The spirit can act upon matter and vice versa through this link. So in order for us as a spirit to be able to connect, like the cord we said, I may have the device, I may have the electricity, but if I don't have the cord, I don't have this representation. Even the Apostle Paul already mentioned something in terms of the spiritual body. It is sown a natural body, it's raised a spiritual body. If there is a natural body, that is also a spiritual body. So he also, at that time already, he was considering and this idea that there was, a spirit body, a spiritual body, not only a physical one. What is this word that we use, perispirit? Why Spiritist uses the word perispirit? And again, it doesn't matter which word we are going to use, okay? The Egyptians used Ka, we use perispirit, some philosophies or other spiritualist doctrines use astral body. We saw that Paul of Tarsus uses spiritual body. Kardec, when he was putting together all this knowledge that he was, and information that he was receiving, and we have to take into consideration that at that time, in the continuation of all the work of the putting together the main 5 books and other works that he was doing, he expressed that for new things, he had to use new words. So we were talking about a new science, a new field that was open up to us. He was receiving communication from over 1,000 spiritist gatherings, mediums from several continents, several cities. So he utilized what we had to make sense of what had to be imparted in terms of knowledge. So he says, the fruit, we have this, the germ, the seed. We have this out layer that would represent, let's say, what we see, the physical part of the fruit. But we have what is called here in the middle, the perisperm. So he said, well, we have the spirit. I have the physical body. So using the same Greek root and terminology, he said, now we have the perispirit, like we have this here in terms of the fruits as well. So he is not that he just created a word out of his mind. He tried to use Latin roots, Greek roots. Even when he called, Kardec is the person that coined the word mediumship. Before Kardec, it was not, this word didn't exist. People would say something else. So everyone that utilizes the word mediumship, they are referring to Kardec because it was coined by him. And why did he use the word medium? Because he thought, well, it is the person that is the intermediate between the spirit realm and the physical realm. So it is a medium. And so all of those words, they come out of something. Okay. So I think now we can, let me see which one. Okay. As the seed of a fruit is surrounded by the perisperm, the spirit is surrounded by an envelope that by analogy may be called the perispirit. So this is how this word came about. But again, if we want to use a spiritual body for the sake of people understanding better, not a very specific terminology, there is nothing wrong with that as well. We refer to our physical body, we can refer to our spiritual body. Just this one, and then we can talk about this, all this concept that Kardec brought with this knowledge about a link, an intermediary body, a perispirit, a spiritual body. It was really a breakthrough concept because until that time, people would not dissociate the spirit from the spiritual body, from the perispirit. When they saw ghosts, so to say, they would say it's one and the same. So I see an apparition is the spirit. The apparition, the physical body is the spirit, and it's not. We know that the trilogy that we have is God, matter, and spirit. So if spirit is one thing, matter being a physical body or a spiritual body that is made of matter, it's something else. Okay, let's stop now for comments and questions.
I have a quick question. Sometimes you hear people talking about aura and they can see someone's, the colors of someone's aura. Is that another way to think about the perispirit, or is that a different kind of concept?
Yeah, we will be talking about it later as well, I believe. It is in this presentation, but I'll just give an idea now. Aura is not the fluidic irradiation of more related to our physical body than actually a physical body, but also meaning the state of mind of the spirit, and then actually this perispirit, okay? That's how it fluctuates. We actually, we are only going to be talking about perispirit today, okay? And I said, although, I mean, since we are a group that have been studying quite a while, etc., I will touch deeper areas. There are some that I don't want to go there right now, or which is there are more bodies than just the three that is, or more, not just body, because we are talking about spirit, perispirit, and physical body. Okay, spirit, perispirit, spiritual body, or physical body. But we have one that is also known between the physical body and the perispirit, that we call ethereal body. That is actually, you know, when we die, and some people see that will-o'-wisp is actually the release that comes from this etheric body. Okay, and it's the etheric body that actually presents it, also that we can call the aura, representing the state of health, state of mind of our physical body. And when we die, it is dissolved like our physical body as well. We just remain a spirit and perispirit and other things, but so far this two is enough for us. Any more questions? Yes, Marlene?
So then the perispirit is not your soul. Is that right?
Yes, it's not the soul.
I thought maybe it was.
Yes, no. This is the idea here, exactly in this slide that we are now, is what it was the common knowledge. We thought it's just one and the same, but it's not. The spirit, in the same way that we do not know and have the faintest idea about what is God, except from the attributes, etc. We also don't know what is the spirit is. That the spirit is. We know that we had that we were created by this beings, let's call it this way, that we had a beginning, we don't have an end, but we don't know how to describe. That's why, you know, the spirits try to say it's a spark, but it is a spark that represents knowledge, intelligence, free will, actions, you see. But it's not the outer layer. Those outer layers are more like garments that will accompany us for a long time, until we basically almost entirely release from them. We do not even know whether we are going to be completely released from them. So far, the knowledge that we have is that for many incarnations, we will still have this need of a material body. Okay, I know it's confused, it's hard, but it's what we have in terms of information.
Okay. I love the picture there. Is that a real image, or is it just creative art?
No, it's a real image. We had even here in New York City, I don't know if this exhibition travel any other places in the US, an exhibition at the Metropolitan Museum, very, the super prestigious museum, that was called the Photographs of the Occult. And then we had several photographs, and we can find them in the internet, and photographs that were really analyzed and considered to be real. Of course, there are many hoax photographs, but this one, as far as we know, is real.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Oh, Sonia was going to say something.
Yes, then can I say reincarnation? It's a spirit inside a new perispirit. Because assume a new material body and new visualize.
Okay, it's a very good question. And one that we can only use our common sense to reply, okay? We can imagine the perispirit as being a dough, uma massa, a dough, okay? So the dough is the same. The shape may vary, okay, according to how I evolve. And of course, the dough is going to be denser, lighter, according to the evolvement of the spirit as well. But it's more or less like this. It's malleable. And we are going to be seeing that in a while, that we can understand from where we take the energy to, let's say, have this body or have this material body. What kind of raw material is going to use for this this representation? Any other question? Any other thing? Okay, so let's go a little bit more. Let's see here. So here again, the blinking, for lack of any idea about how to try to depict an image of the thinking being, is this, and this, other representation of a lighter body is the spiritual body. So it is matter, even though we may not know exactly what kind of matter is this. Some say that is made out of the dark matter. We don't have that kind of information. That being one of the reasons also why it is still invisible to our eyes. It is the one that is going to conduct the thoughts, the emotions of the spirit. In a way, it never separates from the soul. Like I just said, we don't know, I mean, if we reach the stage of pure perfection, if we are still going to have, you know, a very light ethereal kind of perispirit. So far, the information that we have is that yes, we will still, the spirit, once it is created, will always have some kind of matter accompanying it. Very ethereal, the more it becomes pure. This is not a thinking being. The thinking being is the spirit. This is just the spiritual body is just a garment, an envelope, like the physical body. Okay, but like I said, the cord, it becomes the agent of the action of the spirit. It's flexible, expandable. It can take different appearances because the mind is the one that is going to mold the dough. Metamorphosis in the sense of changing. It's normally invisible to incarnates, right? It may be more fluid or solid. We will see cases where the spirit can become visible to everyone, even if we don't have a specific mediumship. And what else? Let's see. Well, it possesses, sorry. There's too many S's here. Semi-material properties and react upon all the universal fluid that is the matter. So let's, the matter of the universe. So what we have here is, we have, like we said before, the three aspects, right? We have the creator. Let's call the creator. Okay, we can say God, we can say divine amenity, we can say there is one that is the creator. Then we have what is called the intelligent principle that becomes the spirit, that is the spirit thinking part. And we have what is the side that is matter, that is the universal fluid. This was a chart that was put together by Giulio Padovan, and it illustrates very well here, you know, in terms of this raw material of the universe that we call universal fluid, that it can be, you know, the dark matter, all the everything that is matter, and how it composes this trilogy here of perispirit and physical body interacting with the spirit. You want to ask any question now? Again, I know it's too much just to to grab and to understand it in one go. Okay, some of you I know is more familiar with that, others not so much, and of course there are much more that we will be talking now, but you know, we have more slides to come. But it's important always for us. Do you see my cursor, the pointer? Okay, so it's important that we think about this. The creator is spirit and matter. Universal fluid is matter that brings about everything that we call matter, be it inanimate, animated. This here is the matter part of the creation. Creator, matter, and spirit. questions, comments?
Yes, you know, I think I'm going to have to watch this more than once. There's a lot here.
It is a lot. It is a lot. But you see, of course, for the purpose of study, it's important that, you know, we make this presentation, that we know that it's very complex, okay? But it's just for us to have an idea. And this idea that I said at the beginning, you know, the physical body being, you know, the device, the spirit representing the electricity, the energy that becomes electricity, and having an intermediate body that represents the cord that is going to connect the two of them. It's enough for us to understand how everything else works. Like, for instance, every time I turn off my TV or even my computer screen, I'm in awe of thinking, how is this possible, right? We are talking now from so many different homes and different cities and different times, even time zones even. And we are all live, seeing each other and communicating and hearing. I mean, I don't know how this works. I have the basic knowledge of it. So I don't need to be an expert in engineering, physics, and all of that to know that it's there, that it's work. This is the way it works. And sometimes I wish I had the time and the intelligence to understand all of that. But I know, okay, maybe another life I will understand everything better. But so far, I know it's there. It's an important resource. I know how to use it. I'm going to use it. So don't be too overwhelmed with all this information that is so far beyond. Like I said, even in terms of vocabulary, we use this terminology because we don't have anything better to explain, right?
You know, this would make a wonderful Saturday presentation. You ought to consider it.
Oh yes, you're right. It's sometimes it's just that it's very. This one you'll see. We will not be able to finish today. It's very long, but yeah, it's a good suggestion. We can try to make it smaller. Okay, let's go a little bit more here. So remember that we were talking about this matter, the area of matter, okay? That we have in the creation a basic raw matter, which we call universal fluid. So everything that is matter, that is not God and not the spirit, comes from this raw material universal fluid. So the perispirit, fluidic body, the physical body, all of that is made of this same raw material. Okay. We have more information about this also in the book Genesis. And now to the question that Sonia asked from us. Okay, the perispirit's matter. From where does it remove this matter? Because it could be from different parts where this matter is located in the universe. So it says here that the spirits draw their perispirit from the environment in which they are. That is to say, this envelope is formed of ambient fluids. It follows that the constituent elements of the perispirit must vary according to the different worlds. So here, it means to say that the way we are going, let's say, to mold, manipulate this matter according to the conditions of different globes, okay, different worlds, may differ a little bit. Like, for instance, we know that here on planet Earth, we have a lot of oxygen, and we gather energy from that and from other things, and even from solar light. In other planets, they will gather from some different sources. They don't have that much, solar light. The planets that are more distant from the sun doesn't receive the same warmth, the same thing that we receive here on planet Earth. So depending on where we are going to utilize the matter that is more related to that particular world. It's like, let's think us here as an explorer, okay? If I'm going to explore Rio de Janeiro, okay, the beautiful beachy city of Brazil, warm, all hot, I will prepare my luggage, right? My suitcase with appropriate garments for that kind of weather, climate that I'm going to meet. If I'm going to the North Pole, is entirely something else. I will need appropriate clothing for the North Pole. If I'm going to dive, right, go into the ocean and explore and dive, I will need something else, even a tank to breathe underneath the water, right, in the water. So it is the same thing here. Okay, if let's say, next incarnation, I'm going to reincarnating planet Jupiter. Okay, I wish. It's a very evolved world. I wish. So if I'm going to evolve there, I'm still going to be Jusara. The spirit's going to be the same. I still will need a spiritual body, but then they will say, well, for this planet, the way we manipulate the universal cosmic fluid like this, let's prepare your outlayer with this matter, manipulated matter for this planet. Comments, questions? Okay, we're not in a hurry, okay? I'm sure we're going to take 2 weeks for this. If it takes 3 weeks, that's fine as well. We will learn about Perispirit forever.
Great. What about Jupiter? What's so attractive about Jupiter?
I mean, we have some reports, okay, from the spirits that Jupiter is a more evolved planet than we are here on Earth. So life there doesn't present the struggles we have with life here. So it's not that there is idleness. There is no idleness in the universe, okay? Like Jesus said, my Father works every day, and so I do too. Okay, but it's not work in the sense as we understand that it's somehow, oh my God, I have to work. It's occupations, it's missions. It's it's a different relationship between souls that will no longer present emotions that get so much in the way of us and happiness and peace of mind, like jealousy, hatred, revenge, and all of those things. So there are we know that Jupiter is one of those words, and some spirits that pertain to this planet already reincarnated on Earth as well to propel arts, science way of living. There is even in the Spiritist Review that we already have translated some accounts of the Spirit Moser about his homeland, planet Jupiter. So yeah, it's it's something else that we have to consider about. But then we go there with our human eyes and say, I don't see anyone. There is nothing here, right? Well, we don't see spirits. I don't see the microwaves. I don't see the heat waves on my oven and a regular one. And it's still there. It's still warming my food. It's still freezing my food. And so, yeah, there's still a time, some time for us to be able to see all that. Any other question or comment? I think we can go a little bit more. So again, the perispirit is the link between the spirit and the physical body. We could say that is basically, like we've been saying, is matter. It is the principle of organic life, but not of intellectual life, since the spirit is the source of intellectual life. So here we are saying, again, it's matter. It doesn't think. So this thing that we say, oh, the flesh is weak. It's weak to catch illnesses that our stubborn spirit exposes us to, okay? But it's always the spirit. The spirit is weak. The matter, physical body, spiritual bodies is not a thinking being. It doesn't have choices. It is also the agent of all the sensations of the external life. Those sensations are located in the organs of the physical body, which serve as their channel. So it feels, of course, the sensation. It transmits sensations, but it's not the will. It's not the intelligence. It's not the one that guides. When the body is destroyed, those sensations become generalized. We have in the Spirit's book, I think it's question 257, that explains about the sensations of the Spirit. I cannot say I have a headache per se. I may have, the sensation of a heavy head, but not necessarily that we will pinpoint areas, specific areas, like when we have a physical body. But we still may have impressions. You know, when you had a very bad headache one day, and then the next day you don't have the headache anymore, but you have the sensation of heaviness that still lingers there. So it would be more or less like this than actually say, I'm feeling the physical pain. Okay. Yes, question 257. So here we see how, again, how we are connected. The spirit, physical body, the yellow one, and spirit body, the green one. Okay, here still repeating what we have been saying so far. I think we have time for another one. Or maybe we leave it for next week, I don't know. Because now we're going to be talking about how it connects with the physical body. Maybe we should talk about it next week. It may take a little longer. And we will stop, see if there is more questions and comments on this part. Yes, I know.
And I mentioned about the sensation. You start in the perispirit. Then tell something about the illness. You start in the perispirit and go to the physical body.
Not exactly. It's always the spirit feeling the real sensations. Okay, again, if we think again about the computer, the source of energy and the cord, and the computer being the spirit, everything is in the spirit. Everything is in the computer. It's not in the source of energy, and not even in the cord that is transmitting it. Of course, if we think about that, the cord may be defective because the spirit compromised the cord. Okay, and so I could have received more energy, so to say, okay, more the energy that produced the electricity, but because my spirit somehow is defective, it affects the cord. But it's not the cord that is responsible for that. But having said that, once my spirit is compromised, when it helps in the modulation, in modeling my new physical body, it will reflect the defects, imperfections that we have. That's why in every sort of illness, physical, mental, emotional, we always have to take care of the spirit, because the spirit is the one responsible. I remember one of the things that Chico Xavier, the very well-known, renowned, respected medium, humanitarian from Brazil, that dedicated over 75 years of his life just to help others, and all these books that we had that he received it from the spirits without making any profit from it. He was visited by many illnesses, but he used to say, my body is ill, my spirit is not. Which is very intriguing, because since we know that the body will be ill because of the spirit, it means that in his case, we have two options. One of them is that he asked deliberately to come with those problems to serve as example to us and say, listen, my heart is bad. I'm basically blind, all other things that he had, and I'm still here working and producing over 500 books and not putting anything in my pocket. Okay, or he still, actually three options, or he still had a little bit to atone, so to say, but because of his acceptance, he could see that there are some illnesses that we cannot revert to the effect of time, right? Once they are installed in our physical body, they may not aggravate, but we cannot rid ourselves completely from it. So in this case, you will see you will still see the aftermath, the reflections of this illness of the spirit, but the spirit is huge, which means that next incarnation will no longer have any issue in this area. Oh, the third one, the two of them combined, probably in his case was the two of them combined. Some that he said, it's better if I come with all these physical problems that I will present, so people will not say, oh, you have a wonderful health, you're always peachy and have all this energy, that's why you can do this work, and we can't because I'm ill all the time, right? So that was not the case. And the second option as well, that he said, oh, I know that I still have some fixing to do in my spirit. So my physical body will present those things, but as I work with that, I heal my spirit. So that's why the healing of the spirit is in a way more important than the healing of the physical body, and they are all together. This is, a field of the medical arena that is going to be each time more explored. Integrative medicine, when you think about, what Socrates used to say already, right? Body, mind, and soul. I mean, Socrates already told us that, but we still, millennia after, not putting exactly this into practice. Okay. Any more comments or questions?
I have a question again.
Sure.
So like when we're at a Spiritist center and receive passes, do the passes aim to kind of sort of purify somehow the perispirit to sort of make that connection between the body and the spirit more pure or stronger?
Yeah, excellent question, Jeff. And now that you said that, I said, oh my God, I didn't put anything in my presentation related to the passes. You see, it's never perfect, right? Yes, absolutely. When we are receiving passes, the energy that we are talking about coming from the incarnates and the discarnate, the spirits, the guides, the mentors that are helping, is a much more ethereal one that is going to help in healing the perispirit, the spirit, but also the perispirit, so that the reflection on the physical body is going to be seen. This is the reason why when we are going to have passes, the more we put ourselves in the state of meditation, of prayer, the more we, as perispirit, expand from our physical body. And in this way, this expansion promotes or makes it easier for us to absorb, spiritually speaking, through the perispirit spirit, the energy that is given to us. If I'm there just very much connected just to the physical body, I will not benefit as much from the energy that is given to me. See, so it is a medicine that can be more effective or less effective depending on us. The medicine they are giving is the same, but how we are going to absorb in our physical body, spirit, perispirit, it depends on the state of mind that we are at that moment.
That's really helpful. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so we come to our time. Do we have, there will be more, I think, another week or two. There's a lot still for us to talk about. And it's interesting because it's a subject as well that brings about other things that, and since this is a study, there is no problem in us, going through this this way as well. Okay. So any volunteer for the final prayer?